Let's get to the meat and gravy of today's call. I'm so excited about this young lady. I know she's rested, ready to go. You heard the story before last year. So when she asked Tony Coopers to come and didn't have anybody and just went to work to make it real. Now, let me think about this for a second. She didn't have nobody, Mr. Thomas. She didn't have nobody. She got the thought. See, I'm going to teach you guys, and this coming Saturday, we're going to talk about what wealthy people buy, what broke people buy, and what rich people buy, or wealthy people buy. I'm going to talk about it. You understand? We use our brain to create money. I can't, it's not my time to get into this, but we create our brain. So she created in her brain with nobody, no ideals, a thought in her brain, and she created it and went to work. Write this down, this game right there, to make it real. And because she went to work and make it real, a year later, here is Dean Torelli down there, Efra Hada down there, she's down there on what she had created, because write this down, to think is to create. See, wealthy people, we don't work for money. Broke people work for money. Middle class who work for good credit score and to pay bills on time. Wealthy people, we know money ain't real. We create it here. I'm gonna talk about this. Well, anyway, we created. So she went out and got wealthy in her mind. Says, I'm gonna create an organization here. And have you noticed in the chat, she said she had 6 PPRs. Notice what she said, so far. It ain't but Monday. I got 6 new IBOs. You hear what she said in the chat? And I popped 3 ETLs on what she started a year ago that she has created. What are you deciding to create this year for you and your family? She tells you, I'm just a little piece of leather, but I'm well put together like tacos. And I'm like, yeah. But look what she's created. And because of that, on the Friday call with the leadership in ACN and the new leadership council, they were bragging about her. And all of us SVPs, SVP, all the RV, oh my God, because what she's done in a year. So don't take this lightly. If she could do it in a year, what could you do in 6 months? And remember my 9-week challenger people, remember what our challenge is. Without further ado, can we give a warm welcome to the first time this year for the first full Monday? I am excited. Can we give Ms. Roxann Corralejo a warm welcome, regional director, on the way to regional vice president, and then senior vice president, the great, the one and only Miss Lovett herself, Roxann Corralejo.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I did not know that conversation took place. So holy cow, you guys, it has been crazy. And those results that we went over was just from the weekends. That was just the last couple days that I had posted in the chat. But first and foremost, I cannot be where I am today without amazing and fabulous and fantastic leaders that we have. So I definitely want to give it back to Mr. Al Thomas. I mean, just one of my very first memories of it, like, man, this man is just so humble and amazing. And that's because of something, an experience I had where he has his whole, Mr. Thomas has his his gang behind him. He has definitely everybody that follows him. And he said, no, Miss Corralejo, you take the lead. You walk us in the room. We're following behind you. And he put me in front of his team because he said, no, that's a leader. We're following you. And I'm doing that same thing. I'm duplicating that. This is a duplication business. And I said, you know what? Whoever wants to shine and whoever wants to step up to the top, I am helping you, but we are leading together and I am following you and your actions. So thank you, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you. Your servant leadership has been life-changing for me, as well as Mr. Jabri Clemens. I definitely want to give it back to him. Man, I bet you I was stressing him out before this call. I said, hey, quick change. Can we add this? Can we add that? Can we do that? And he's like, man, you are lucky. I like you. And I really am. I am lucky to have you guys, everybody, as my family, my ACN family. I truly am. And I respect and love each and every one of you. And those people on the call who are just messaging me on a random day saying, oh my gosh, Roxann, I see you. I see what you're doing. Good job. Keep it up, girl. And some of these people I haven't even met in person. So I really, truly value everybody here. And this is a family and leadership business. So I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you all so much. So I have a lot going through my mind. This was a really, really big weekend for us, mainly because for those of you that don't know, pre-registration for electricity sign up started on Friday. The first day in Lubbock that people can sign up electricity was Friday. So it was a crazy weekend. Everybody gearing up and pumping for what's happening. And then all of a sudden, like, okay, I've never entered in an electricity customer. What do I do now? Oh my gosh, it was chaos. It was madness, but it was controlled and amazing and beautiful chaos. And I loved it. So forgive me if I jump around a bit because there's a lot I want to talk about. As usual, I have my notes, but let's see if I can actually follow them. So my story, just like Mr. Thomas had mentioned about before getting Mr. Kupis out to San Antonio and not having anybody and filled a room with over 100 people because that was my goal. That was my goal he set for me. I didn't even think about that connection, but that is the same thing I repeated here in Lubbock, the exact same thing. I said, yes, I'm going without a thought, not having anyone with me, behind me, just the support of everyone saying, I know you can do it. No results, nothing to see forward, just the fact that I know I can. So I want to start by highlighting choices. We all have choices, and the choices we make and the choices we don't make. Pay attention to both. What choices are you making? What choices are you not making? What are you talking yourself out of? What are you letting other people talk you out of? So when I made the decision to come to Lubbock, I did not have this conversation with a single soul. I heard that it was deregulating and I said, I'm in. I came out to visit. While I visited, still not knowing anybody, just introducing myself to people, I made that decision here in town that, all right, I'm going back home. I'm packing up a U-Haul and I'm coming out here. I made that choice. I didn't give anybody the option to talk me out of it, including myself. My decision was made, choice was done. But with these choices that we make comes sacrifice. And that is where people allow others to talk themselves out of it. That's what people allow themselves to talk themselves out of what could be greatness. Don't allow that to happen. So I made this choice. I made sacrifices. What sacrifice did I have to make? First and foremost, I'm moving to a city where I don't know anybody. I'm completely alone. I'm so social. I need to have my family and my people and everybody surrounding me to come into a place where I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I am completely alone. I have no one to call and hang out with, no one to have coffee with, except the people I have to force myself to go out and meet. So that's a sacrifice. It's saying, hey, I don't know where this is going to go. But not only that, it's a big financial sacrifice. If you've ever moved, you know it takes some money. So then I had that financial sacrifice saying, okay, I got to rent a U-Haul. I got to hire some people, or I got to get people to help me pack this U-Haul. I got to drive all the way up there. I have to bring my car up here. I have to find a place to live. I have to get all the utilities started. So these bills start racking up, and it's a few $1,000s to move. And that's kind of an understatement, but you guys know it costs money to do this stuff. And so I'm leaving everything behind without a doubt, making this financial sacrifice to do this. And then I'm like, okay, well, without a business growing, where's this money going to come from? So now I'm spending it, but where's it going to come from? I have to trust that I left myself that no choice option where it's going to happen. These are the sacrifices I had to make this decision. And I moved into my house that I'm at now a day before my birthday. I'm a huge birthday celebration person. I love celebrating everybody. Mentally, that was hard because I'm here the day before my birthday, and then my birthday, I wake up excited, but there's nobody here to celebrate me. There's nobody here to do anything or take me out to lunch or do anything like that. And I'm like, that was my first thought, like, oh boy, what the heck did I do? The first day I'm in town. I came in that evening, right as the sun's coming down. So maybe not even 12 hours later, I'm already starting to freak out. But I calmed myself down. I said, no, we have a purpose. We're meant to be here. We were led here. We have a purpose. We made these sacrifices. You're in. It's all in. You can't take that pot back. Those were my sacrifices that I had to make to get here. So now talking about other people, and I want to make sure I definitely stay on time. Talking about other people, about this decision that I made, they're like, oh my gosh, Roxann, this was a huge decision. I want to follow your lead. I want to come. I've heard that from so many people. But guess how many actually made the move? Yeah, I see some head shakings. Kenneth, you know, nobody actually made the move. And I definitely don't want to point fingers, but I want to bring it to your attention as well. If you know I'm speaking about you, I had someone tell me, I'm in, I'm coming, this is happening, I'm going to be with you. You have a place for me to stay. Let's do this. And then they got scared. They talked themselves out of it. They let their family talk themselves out of it. And then I had another person who says, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna go as soon as I get a team. I'm picking everybody on Facebook. I'm messaging all these property managers. It's going to happen. I'll be there as soon as I get someone to be there. But because they weren't boots on the ground in here, people in Lubbock, they want you to live here. And I've actually had some people, oh, you live here? No, I'm signing up with you just because I live here, because I made that move. I made that sacrifice. They said, if you're sacrificing for yourself, I know you're going to sacrifice for me. I'm going to follow you. So that person never got anybody because they were just relying on Facebook, waiting for that one recruit that they never got because they weren't willing to make that sacrifice. Another person says, oh my gosh, I'm going, let's do this. It's going to be this big thing. But you know what? We analyzed our finances and it didn't work out. And I get that 100%. But here's the sacrifice. You guys let me know where the sacrifice lies. We have 108,000 meters commercially and residentially that have to pick a provider. It is a forced switch. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That's $300 million in billing. $300 million up for grabs. Went to one company. Now it's open. Y'all, this stuff is being thrown up in the air, and you're making that sacrifice saying, oh, I can't do it because something else is more important. But where is the sacrifice? The fact of actually planning a trip out here, spending a little bit of money, that sacrifice, leaving your family behind just for a few days, maybe a week, a few months. I get it. But for me, that sacrifice is saying I'm leaving $300 million on the table. That's the sacrifice, you guys. That's the sacrifice, is that this was open for everybody on this call. Everybody in ACN, everybody that has any ties with making money on electricity, and some did not think it was big enough deal to come out here. And I will tell you that since January, I've been tracking since January, we had 18 reps in 7 days sign up. 18 reps in 7 days. And everything spreads exponentially. So if you do the math, okay, if we do the average every day, that's like 75 reps in a month. Holy cow, 20 was my highest, but now if we move at the same pace, we're looking at, okay, that's over 70 reps for the month. But everybody knows how this business works and the way it goes exponentially. I can't even think of the number we're going to end January with. And I say we 100% because it's we. This isn't me. I made this sacrifice to come out here. But guess what? What you do duplicates in your team, good or bad. Now, if you let your team know, hey, I didn't end up going to this event because I had this going on, I had that going on, guess what? They're going to have the same excuses. But if you don't give yourself excuse, your team won't either. I have a handful of people, and only a handful of people I want to highlight because every single person on my team has made that sacrifice. One is Alicia Broman. Alicia Broman has a 2-year-old son. And once we had Mr. Trolley come into town, Mr. Trolley came in for this launch. She said, I'm going to be there. We're going to lead into Friday. We're going to have this full force. Alicia said, all right, I'm going to let my mom take my son. My mom is going to babysit my son. We're going to meet halfway. She's going to pick him up because guess what? This sacrifice is for him that I'm making. For a week, she's been without her 2-year-old son, or half a week, 5 days, whatever it is, without her 2-year-old son who loves and needs mommy, and she loves and needs him. But that's the sacrifice she decided to make. Grandpa had surgery. She stayed here up until the last minute before driving out to meet Grandpa in the hospital for surgery. And guess what she was doing that whole time? She's on the phone. She's talking to people. I got a notification that we had a rep go in the business as she's in the waiting room while her grandfather is having heart surgery. Grandpa wakes up and says, I overheard you're selling electricity now? What is going on? That's what are the sacrifices that we're making. Corey, I have someone on my team, Corey. We have these events coming up. We have VPs flying into town to host these events. And he says, Roxann, I can't make it. I got to be there for my kids. Like whatever's going on, I can't sacrifice my kids. I mean, they have sporting events. They expect me to be there. I'm their dad. And I said, okay, I get it. He had one person sign up that same day. And the first thing that person said and asked him, once we talked about the event, he promoted the event, not me. What do you think his friend said? Exactly. Yes, Catherine, are you going? And his response is, yes, I'll be there. And after I'm like, hey, I thought you weren't going to go. Well, I have someone that's going to go, so I got to be there. I got to make sure I'm there for him. This is the sacrifice I got to make. Now his sacrifice has changed. One of the things that I say over and over and over, and my team will tell you the fact, and they're actually repeating it, is I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. They're trying to schedule meetings and what's going on, and I'm looking at my calendar. I'm overbooking and overlapping appointments. I'll work it out. I'll figure it out. It's going to happen. And now people are coming, the team's growing bigger, and I'm hearing that same thing repeat in them. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna figure it out. I have school starting back up, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna have these PBRs in the evening after school. I know it's a game day. Let's have it right before the game. So remember, every single thing you do, every choice you make will duplicate in your business. Another person, Tomas and Modesta Rodriguez. And I'm only highlighting just a few people. They sat down with us, myself and Mr. Trolley. Let me check the time. Okay, a couple minutes. Myself and Mr. Trolley, they sat down with us to get them qualified. They have a massive team that's blowing up. You guys, mark my words, they will be regional coordinator within probably 45 to 60 days. They're going to hit regional coordinator because they have a team. Now our job is just to get people qualified, just to get those services in. And that's been the hard part because the team's moving so fast. Everybody's excited to introduce us to everybody. And I'm like, all right, I don't want to put the brakes, but let's take time to get qualified. So we said, all right, these two are leading the charge. We need to make sure you're qualified. We sat down, they bring their daughter Annabella. She's sitting there. We're there for a little minute, identifying 2 services. They put husband and wife in. 2 sets of services for each, trying to get these qualifications in. And Annabella, bless her heart, so sweet. I love her. But she's like, Daddy, I'm hungry. Daddy, I didn't think these errands were going to take this long. I'm bored. I'm tired. She is such a freaking trooper. So it's not only you that have to sacrifice. It's not only your team, but it's your team's family. This girl, she was sacrificing. She was on her phone. She was doing her thing. But she was like, man, I didn't expect to be here this long. And she put in that sacrifice for her family. And guess what? We had a new promotion and we hit executive team leader. We hit customer qualified for both their positions. So these things are producing results and we're moving forward because of the choices that I made that duplicate in my team, that they're making these choices now. They're putting up the sacrifice. They're doing PBRs. They're taking leadership. We got a group text, Dean and myself, Mr. Trolley and myself got a group text from one of the leaders on the team and said, hey, we need to have a leadership. We need to get everybody qualified at once. Let's invite everybody to the office. We're going to get everybody qualified. We're going to do a training, show them how to sign up customers. We're going to do a leadership. Y'all, these are people that have been in the business less than 30 days. This is a brand new team. So I moved to Lubbock in August. Didn't sign up my first Lubbock rep until October. It takes time. Do you have that patience to put in the sacrifice? After October, it started moving slowly. It started moving slowly. In December, we got 20 reps. First week in January, we're at 18 reps. The way that this thing duplicates is unbelievable, but it takes time. It takes that sacrifice. So what are you guys going to do with 40 brand new reps in 5 weeks? How are you going to produce presenters? How are you going to get people qualified? How are you going to keep these PBRs and the momentum going? This is the sacrifice I'm making now. So now I have Mr. Trolley coming into town, Mr. Tejada flying into town. Guess what? These are our leaders. They want to be there to support our team, but guess what they had to do? They had to make sacrifices. They're leaving their family behind. They're leaving their wife, their kids, everybody behind, all their other businesses in other areas that are growing to come to Lubbock to help us grow, to help their team. So the sacrifices I made didn't start with myself. It started with the leadership. It started by me watching what they're doing, how they got to where they are. Me having that desire and wanting to be, I will without a doubt be where you are. Teach me, show me, what do I have to do? What choices do I have to make? What sacrifices do I have to make to be where you are? And that's how it duplicates. So think about the choices you make today and the sacrifices you're going to make and the sacrifices you're not making. and go out there and do them. Because I promise you, that $300,000, that $300 million in billing, we're all going to get a little piece of that pie. And if you don't, it's because of the choices that you made. Thank you so much. I can talk forever today because, as you can tell, we are fired up. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas.